Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'm going to give you an update, breaking news in the story we've been covering on this channel out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Shout out New Orleans. And it's involving this child right here. God rest his soul. This little boy that you see up here is Bryan Vasquez. He's 12 years old. Nonverbal autistic child. Last month he snuck out of his house and was missing for some time, and then he was found in a lagoon across the street or close by his house where an alligator surfaced with his body. Now, ever since that has happened, there's been a bunch of scrutiny on whether the police out there in New Orleans responded in time. Was the mother neglectful with him? Information about her with her history of abuse to this child, among other things came out. And now, in a sudden turn of events, the mother, pictured here, Hilda Vasquez, I think they said she's 35 years old, has been locked up. Just locked up yesterday. And she's charged with second-degree cruelty to a juvenile and negligent homicide. I'll show you this series of videos that explain everything of why she's charged, and we'll come back and talk about it.
This is breaking news.
Good evening, I'm Lauren McCoy. We start with breaking news tonight. New Orleans police arrest the mother of 12-year-old Bryan Vasquez in connection to his death. The NOPD says 34-year-old Hilda Vasquez faces negligent homicide and second-degree cruelty to a juvenile charges. She was taken into custody this evening around 5:30. The Orleans Parish coroner says that Bryan died from drowning and injuries suffered from an alligator attack. This after he was reported missing from his New Orleans East home. Authorities aren't giving much details at this time, but say Hilda Vasquez has a documented history of abuse against Bryan. Records Fox 8 obtained tonight confirm that. And according to the records filed in a criminal district court, they say Bryan escaped twice, weeks before a third disappearance that resulted in his death. In an affidavit for her arrest warrant, detectives say there are two Department of Children and Family Services reports, one resulting in a cruelty to juveniles conviction against Bryan.
When Ms. Vasquez was arrested and convicted for abusing Bryan, when he was 3 months old, she committed a skull fracture, broken legs, and a collapsed lung. At that point, he was removed from the home. And then at some point subsequent to that, DCFS returned him back to the home. And that's obviously part of the information that we're working with our DCF partners. But that's in the public realm. That's in our search warrant. Our arrest warrant application that she had that previous conviction. And there was a period when he was removed from the home.
As we comb through these records, they also say that a third report with DCFS was filed after Bryan's body was found. Also, Bryan was diagnosed as a victim of child physical abuse when he was a baby. DCFS investigated lack of supervision of Bryan and alleged neglect from his mother. Bryan was nonverbal and on the autistic spectrum. He reportedly escaped through a bedroom window from his home in the East on August 14th. He was last seen on doorbell camera video, and a multi-agency search went into finding him. Drones, airboats, and dogs were deployed to help in a search that zeroed in on a lagoon on Severus Street.
Also want to thank our local, state, and federal partners who all helped in this investigation, as well as the Cajun Navy, who was out there for several days. This was an emotional and really traumatic case, not just for the community, the family, but also our own officers and every officer that was out there. It was not an easy time for anyone, and again, we wish the outcome would have been different, but it's not the case. So we have to pursue and seek justice for Bryan.
Bryan's body was found in that lagoon on August 26th, and a lot of questions surrounded this investigation, including the NOPD's response time. NOPD data showed a roughly 5-hour gap between someone reporting a missing juvenile on Thursday, August 14th, and the department dispatching an officer. The report came in at 10 a.m. and an officer came at 3 p.m. But according to the records, Hilda Vasquez had conflicting statements when it came to what led up to his disappearance. She is booked into the Orleans Justice Center. The NOPD says this is still an ongoing investigation, urges for anyone out there who knows something to say something and call Crime Stoppers.
GSU investigates digging deeper into the death of Bryan Vasquez, the 12-year-old who went missing and was killed by an alligator. While his family says that he was nonverbal and had autism, WGSU investigates uncovers records showing that he suffered a brain injury from his mother when he was 3 months old, and that could have been linked to his special needs. Aubrey.
And we have been going through them all week, and they are from the Department of Child and Family Services. They say by law they can only release summary info when there's been a fatality or near fatality. This record from DCFS dated November of 2013 shows when Bryan Vasquez was just 3 months old, he was almost killed. His injuries, skull and leg fractures, trauma to the eye, and evidence of injury to his 3-month-old brain. Medical professionals determined that this was not an accident and that the trauma was child abuse. Records show Bryan stopped breathing and 911 was called. EMS transported the child to Tulane Hospital ER, where he was examined and placed in a pediatric ICU. His own mother, Hilda Vasquez, was charged. She pled guilty to cruelty to a juvenile. She was given probation. Records show that her probation was violated in 2017. WDSU Investigates uncovered records that show CASA New Orleans is in her criminal court file. CASA advocates are citizen volunteers who speak up for the best interest of abused and neglected children. I called their office.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no
It appears they've closed. Investigators are now looking into how Bryan got out of his home back in August. NOPD has put a top child abuse detective on the case and are searching Hilda's phone.
There may or may not be information, data that's critical to this investigation. And it might be in that phone or it might be in another phone. So I think we have to let the agencies do what they are trained to do. We need to find out why this happened.
And CASA says that the New Orleans CASA is a nonprofit organization with its own local board of directors. They say there are currently no services in Orleans Parish when it comes to CASA. If you want to see their full statement and the families, head to the WDSU mobile app.
All right, guys, there you have it. Mother of Bryan Vasquez, 12-year-old boy, eaten by alligators and drowned. So he was pulled in and I guess pulled down by the gator as they gave him a death roll or something, which in itself is hard to imagine. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel nothing for this woman. Said her son left out of the house twice before this, in a few months before this. You didn't put no lock on that thing where that boy couldn't get out of there? He's 12. You didn't do none of that? Negligent homicide. I'd have gave it to a dumbass too. I'd show her the flowers to be exact. That little boy, for all they know, could have been normal, and you beat him into a state of retardation at 3 months old. Fuck that. Another thing is this. My opinion, the whole CPS nationwide needs to be dismantled and restructured. It does. They don't care for kids. It's like they give them limited power, and it's always somebody else's fault or reasoning behind giving a child back to somebody that already showed that the child is not worth their time, even though they're the ones that bore the child, birthed it. He should have never been let back with that woman. Never. But this is another case. More you look at these child cases, the more you look and see that these kids are returned to the same hell that they're supposed to be protected from. That's the problem I got. All these different state and government agencies, they ain't really doing shit. Just a bunch of names and acronyms, and ain't really nothing getting done. And then when they get the finger points at them, oh, they point it to somebody else enough to make your fucking head spin. Same with the justice system. You know I'm going to stay on their ass. That is bullshit too. This is just the reality. What's the sense of voting for people to make a difference when the difference never fucking comes? I'm done with it. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Another day, another dead child that shouldn't be dead should still be here.